In this video, we're diving into everything you need to know about OBD-II trouble code P0367, also known as Camshaft Position Sensor B Circuit Low. First, let's understand what the P0367 code is. The P0367 code means that the ECM detects that the signal from the camshaft position sensor is outside the expected range, or too low. Now, this sensor plays a super important role because it helps the ECM figure out the exact position of the camshaft, which it needs in order to manage fuel injection and ignition timing. It indicates an issue with the camshaft position circuit for bank 1, specifically refers to the intake camshaft. Now, let's break down what the bank 1 intake camshaft actually is. In engines with multiple cylinder banks like V6 or V8 engines, you'll have two sides or banks of cylinders. Bank 1 typically refers to the side of the engine where cylinder 1 is located, and bank 2 is on the opposite side. For engines with dual overhead camshafts, DOHC, each bank has two camshafts, one for intake valves and one for exhaust valves. So when we talk about the bank 1 intake camshaft, we're referring to the camshaft that controls the intake valves on the side of the engine where cylinder 1 is located. If you want to read more about any other OBD-II codes, you can visit our website obdcode.org for a full list of codes and their meanings. Now let's learn why P0367 was triggered. The camshaft position sensor keeps track of the exact position of the camshaft as it rotates. It constantly sends this signal to the ECU, or engine control unit. Now, the ECU doesn't just rely on this one signal. It also takes in information from the crankshaft position sensor, engine speed, and engine load. With all this data, the ECU can precisely control things like fuel injection, ignition timing, and even when the valves open and close. But if there's a problem with the camshaft position sensor circuit, then the ECU can't get the right camshaft data, and it triggers the P0367 code to let you know something's off. Just like the P0367 code, you might also come across a few other trouble codes related to the camshaft position sensor. For example, one of the most common ones is P0365. That code stands for Exhaust Camshaft Position Sensor for Bank 1 has malfunctioned. In simple terms, this means there's a problem in the circuit that monitors the camshaft position. It could be caused by a broken wire, a poor electrical connector, or even a faulty camshaft position sensor itself. Then there's P0366, which means Exhaust Camshaft Position Sensor for Bank 1 has performance problem. In simple terms, it means that the signal from the exhaust camshaft sensor on Bank 1 is either out of range or not performing as expected. It could be due to incorrect timing, interference, or a weak signal. On the flip side, you might see P0368, which is Exhaust Camshaft Position Sensor for Bank 1 is circuit high. It means the sensor is sending too much voltage, often due to a short circuit or a sensor that's completely failed. And finally, there's P0369, which stands for Exhaust Camshaft Position Sensor for Bank 1 is intermittent. Now, where exactly is the P0367 sensor located? The camshaft position sensor, responsible for triggering the P0367 code, is usually positioned close to the camshaft. Its exact location can vary depending on your vehicle's make and model, but you'll typically find it either on the valve cover or directly in the cylinder head. Now that we understand what P0367 means and where the sensor is located, let's cover how to reset it. Sometimes error codes like P0367 appear due to recent maintenance or temporary glitches, and they may clear up after an OBD-II reset. To do this, you'll need an OBD-II scanner. If you don't have one, check out the link in the description for the best scanners out there. Simply connect the scanner to your vehicle, follow the instructions to clear the trouble codes, and see if the P0367 code reappears. If the P0367 code reappears, it's time to look into some common root causes of P0367. Now let's discuss some common root causes of the P0367 error code. The first cause is a failing or defective camshaft position sensor. Over time, the sensor can wear out or get damaged by heat, oil contamination, or vibration. When the sensor fails, it can't accurately detect the position of the camshaft, which throws off the timing and triggers the P0367 code. The second cause is a damaged or frayed wiring harness. The camshaft sensor sends a signal to the ECU through wires, and if those wires are broken, corroded, or shorted, the ECU won't receive the correct signal. Even something as simple as a loose connector can lead to circuit errors. The third cause is a faulty timing belt or chain. The camshaft is driven by the crankshaft through either a timing belt or a timing chain. If that belt or chain jumps a tooth or becomes misaligned, even slightly, it throws off the precise synchronization between the camshaft and the crankshaft. Since the camshaft position sensor relies on accurate timing to send signals to the ECU, any misalignment can mimic a sensor failure and trigger the P0367 code. The fourth cause is ECU failure or software issues. The ECU, basically the brain of your engine, relies on data from multiple sensors, including the camshaft position sensor, to manage engine timing and fuel injection. While it's rare, the ECU itself can sometimes develop internal faults or software glitches. When that happens, it might misread or misinterpret the signals coming from the camshaft sensor, triggering the P0367 code, even if the sensor and wiring are just fine. The fifth cause is a damaged camshaft position sensor reluctor wheel. This is the part mounted on the camshaft that the sensor reads to determine its position. If the reluctor wheel is cracked, bent, misaligned, or has missing teeth, the sensor won't be able to produce an accurate signal. This can confuse the ECU and trigger the P0367 code, even if the sensor itself is perfectly fine. The sixth cause is sludge and dust buildup in the camshaft position sensor. Over time, oil, sludge, dirt, and dust can accumulate around the sensor, especially if there's an oil leak or if the engine hasn't had regular oil changes. This buildup can interfere with the sensor's ability to accurately read the camshaft's position. The seventh cause is improper sensor installation. If the camshaft position sensor wasn't installed correctly, maybe after recent engine work or sensor replacement, it can lead to alignment issues or poor contact with the reluctor wheel. Even being slightly off position can cause inaccurate readings, which the ECU will detect as a problem and throw the P0367 code. Always double-check that the sensor is mounted properly.